The Sydney Royal Easter Show, a hallmark event for New South Wales, is one of the largest annual ticketed events in Australasia. Bringing the country to the city is a big job, with significant temporary overlay and lots of moving parts. Over a 4-week period, we assemble and operate a farm with 13,000 animals, a theme park with over 100 rides and games, a food court with 130 outlets, and provide overnight accommodation for 1,200 people per night. We operate more retail outlets than your average Westfield and conduct 80 agricultural competitions with 23,000 entries, all while entertaining around 900,000 guests. This is only possible with a dedicated group of counsellors, staff, volunteers, commercial licensees, agricultural exhibitors, suppliers, contractors and supporters. Delivering and operating the Sydney Royal Easter Show safely is our number one priority. Throughout this induction, you will hear about our rules, key hazards, control measures, safety and security measures, and emergency procedures. Everyone has a right to a safe workplace, and everyone has a role in keeping it safe. If you see something that doesn't seem right, report it to your manager immediately and call our security team on 9704 1020 or via Channel 1 on the radio. Responsibilities. Under the WHS Act, the Royal Agricultural Society, RAS, as a PCBU managing Sydney Showground, must ensure, as far as reasonably practicable, that the workplace, its entry and exit points, and any activities conducted are without risks to anyone's health and safety. This includes meeting legal requirements, providing resources and instruction, planning safe work, training workers, consulting on safety, investigating hazards, and addressing risks promptly. Working at the Sydney Royal Easter Show requires you to take responsible care for your own health and safety and that of others. You must comply with any reasonable instructions and any safety policy or procedure provided by your employer. You are required to work safely and to ask questions if you are unsure how to perform a task. You are required to use personal protection equipment provided in the way you were trained and instructed to use it, and to report any injuries, near misses, or unsafe practices to your supervisor or the security team on 9704 1020. Site hazards and controls with key safety rules. While working within Sydney Showground, you may come across a number of identified hazards. Please ensure your behaviours and work practices adhere to our requirements and control measures. Moving vehicles. Assembling an event of this scale requires many vehicles to navigate the site. The site speed limit is 10 kilometres an hour or slow walking pace when driving within the fence line. This applies to all vehicles, including cars, trucks, cranes, forklifts and golf buggies. All personnel during the bump in and out period must wear enclosed shoes and a safety vest to increase visibility. Children under the age of 15 are not permitted on site during the bump in and bump out, with the exception of agricultural exhibitors for competition purpose in approved areas. It's important when walking through the site that you are attentive and free from any distraction and always looking up, anticipating vehicle movements. If you are assembling a structure, you must define your work area to prevent unauthorised access, which could include hazard tape or temporary fencing. Mobile plant. If you are operating mobile plant, you must wear a seatbelt, hold a high-risk work licence and be able to present it on request. The plant must be registered with the event and display a show registration sticker. Key tips to remember: any forklift attachment must only be used when rated and listed on the load plate of the forklift. The attachment must be secured with locking pins. When lifting loads, the backrest should cover 2/3 of the load. And remember, no towing is permitted. Pedestrians have right-of-way at all times, and if your visibility is compromised, a spotter must be used. Gas bottles. used by forklifts and catering sites, the bottles must be stored upright at all times in a well-ventilated area and secured in cages to protect from impact. Gas bottle quantities should be minimised and resupply arrangements managed regularly. Remember to ensure that no gas bottles are used or stored indoors under any circumstance. Electrical leads. Leads must be tagged and tested every 6 months. Power boards must be for industrial use, no household boards, and protected from wet weather. Leads should be covered or raised to prevent trip hazards, and all electrical wiring must be completed by a licensed electrician. Working at height. Working on the ground or solid construction is always the safest option. If a task can't be performed any other way, you must manage the risk of fall. This might require the use of an elevated work platform or scaffolding or guardrails as a fall prevention device. It may also include the use of a fall arrest system attached at an anchor point. The use of ladders is only for simple access or work that is short in duration and is discouraged across the site. If there is no other option, choose the right ladder for the job and ensure it meets the load requirements. Always maintain 3 points of contact when climbing or descending, and don't exceed the load limit. Do not climb or work past the second last rung of a ladder, and never straddle the top of an A-frame ladder. Working at height and fall protection is a key focus area for Safe Work New South Wales inspectors who are on site in large numbers across the site. Fines of $900 for individuals and $4,500 for corporations apply when you work at height and fail to provide adequate fall protection. If you are erecting an amusement device, installing a top sign on a catering outlet, or assembling a temporary structure, please be extra conscious of these requirements as no warnings will be provided. For more information, visit the Safe Work New South Wales website. Animals. As a large agricultural event, the showground is a temporary home to many large cows and horses. Keep clear of animals that are being led and ask animal handlers to control animals if you must work in proximity. If any animal escapes its handlers or accommodation, allow experienced handlers to capture and control it. Do not put yourself at risk by trying to capture the animal. Be respectful and observant when in close proximity to animals. This means no sudden movements or loud noises. Biosecurity. The RAS has implemented biosecurity measures to manage this risk. Comprehensive hand washing and cleaning routines are consistently maintained, accompanied by ongoing public awareness campaigns. Agricultural exhibitors must make honest declarations about their animals' health and vaccination status before arriving on site. Keeping areas clean, not sharing water troughs with other exhibitors, and reporting all illnesses to RAS veterinarians are key requirements. Remember, if you see something, say something and report all hazards, near misses, incidents, injuries or emergencies to the security team immediately on 9704 1020 or Channel 1 on the radio. Licensed venue. Sydney Showground is a licensed venue and as such, strict regulations apply. The use, possession and distribution of illegal drugs is strictly prohibited. Similarly, alcohol consumption is restricted to approved areas only. All workers and visitors are expected to comply with these rules to ensure a safe and lawful environment. Safety and security. Sydney Showground event security are on site 24 hours a day. The venue is actively monitored by closed-circuit television, which is also recorded. In some instances, security guards will be wearing body cameras, and it's a condition of entering the site that you are giving implied consent to being recorded. Access to the site is controlled and restricted throughout the bump-in and bump-out period. Personnel accessing the site must present an event-issued photo ID, while a vehicle sticker is required to enter through the vehicle gate. Please have your event-issued photo ID available for scanning and vehicle sticker attached to your windscreen with the correct date and gate number for efficient processing. Please ensure that you and your staff are respectful to staff at all times, as we have a zero-tolerance approach to any form of workplace violence, which includes any verbal threats, swearing, or intimidation. The national terrorism threat level is set to probable. It is important that if you see any suspicious packages or activities that you report to Security Control immediately on 9704 1020 or Channel 1 on the radio. White level inspections of your workplace should be completed daily to identify any articles that are unusual, suspicious, or unable to be accounted for. To help you remember, use the HOT principle. Is the article hidden? Is the article obviously suspicious? Is the article typical of the items in your area? Any suspicious articles are not to be touched. Contact Security Control immediately on 9704 1020 or Channel 1 on the radio and assist us in keeping our show safe. In the event of an attack, remember to escape, hide, tell. Escape by moving away quickly and quietly from danger and instruct others. Hide. Stay out of sight and silence your mobile phone and radio. Tell. Immediately contact security on 9704 1020 when it is safe to do so. First aid is available at all times by calling 9704 1020 or Channel 1 on the radio. During the operational period of the show, a number of first aid stations are operating, from the Woolworths Fresh Food Dome foyer, Howie Pavilion Grandstand on Grand Parade, the Paddock on the corner of Grand Parade and Olympic Boulevard, and Lower Command Centre on New England Avenue. Please familiarise yourself with the closest first aid station to your work area, which are provided by St John's Ambulance and supported by New South Wales Ambulance. RAS risk, safety officers and incident investigators are also on site at all times. They are available to review risk assessments, conduct safety inspections, manage and investigate incidents, and provide support. You will need to cooperate if approached and must assist with inquiries. Emergency procedures. A situation may present itself where we need to evacuate a venue or precinct. 2 alarm tones are used on site with different meanings. Beep beep is an alert tone advising people to prepare to evacuate. Whoop whoop is an alert tone advising people to evacuate immediately. Depending on the nature of the emergency, whoop whoop may be the first and only alert tone. As soon as you hear the whoop whoop, please evacuate your area. Fire wardens and security will assist in directing you to safe assembly points. Always familiarise yourself with emergency exits and egress paths from any building you may be working in. Always follow the direction of security personnel, event staff or public address systems to the nominated evacuation zones, which are generally open spaces and lawns within Sydney Showground or Sydney Olympic Park precinct. New South Wales Police and Fire and Rescue New South Wales provide services throughout the event period and are stationed in the Lower Command Centre on New England Avenue. We have provided this site safety induction to increase your awareness when working within Sydney Showground. It is not a substitute for induction and training arrangements made by your employer. It is important to conduct daily toolbox talks with your team to keep them informed and ensure they are aware of safety procedures, potential risks, task-specific responsibilities, and any updates or changes that may impact their work environment. We hope you enjoy the show and appreciate your contribution to this hallmark event for New South Wales. Remember to work safely and report any hazards, near misses, incidents, injuries or emergencies by calling 9704 1020 or Channel 1 on your radio.